Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are calling in from. Welcome to today's webinar, Minimize the Downtime of Your Machines thanks to Aftermarket Parts Support. This webinar today is presented to you by Edaplan, Digabit, and we welcome our guests from Hyperbaric as well. Before we're going to get started, just to let you know, we're going to have a recording available for you. The webinar is about 25 minutes in length. We'll leave the last 5 minutes for questions and hopefully some good answers for you. In case you do need to ask some questions, you should be able to see that on your right-hand side in the, I think the user interface, the pop-up screen there should allow you to ask some questions. I will be the monitor today. My name is Barry Braster. You will also be receiving a recorded version from me later on if you request a link. And then I'm probably going to hold off on the questions until the end because we have quite a bit to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. So briefly introduction to the speakers. Mario Bayo, can you briefly say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone.
And Steve Blanco, can you do the same?
Sure. Welcome everyone.
And my name is Barry Braster. I'm with Edaplan. We'll do 3 very brief descriptions about who we are for those of you who do not know us. But Edaplan is a service/solution provider in the field of engineering, embedded systems, IoT, and technical documentation. We have over 2,500 employees at the moment, 500 of which are in documentation. Global operations, you can see, ISO certified, and we are a publicly listed firm. And one of the things that we are discussing today is how to deal with spare parts catalog implementations. And then Steve, up to you.
Sure, thanks Barry. So Digabit, we're a privately held software company with headquarters here in beautiful Denver, Colorado, with a global reseller network. And we were founded in 2010 with this really interesting idea that we could help the manufacturing world solve their challenges around creating and distributing technical content and really building on that to help them find innovative ways to use that content to improve aftermarket support and sales. Our flagship product is Documoto. I'll be talking about that for just a couple minutes later on in this presentation.
Thank you very much. And then last but not least, we have Mario.
I'm After Sales Portal Manager at Hyperbaric. My company started its activity in 1999 in Burgos, Spain, where we design and manufacture entirely our high-pressure processing equipment. Also, we have facilities in Miami, USA, and Hastings, New Zealand. HPP technology is used to extend fuel shelf life without any additives or thermal process. It is only necessary to apply, and this puts a pressure of 6,000 bars. Yes, 6,000 bars. It's really amazing. As you can imagine, there are very complex machines with maximum requirements regarding materials, technology, and normative. Due to the high operation cost for the customer, we are focused in reliability to avoid any downtime. Hyperbaric is the world-leading manufacturer of HPP equipment since 2005. Nowadays, 7 of each 10 machines acquired worldwide are Hyperbaric. Next slide.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I'll start off with kind of painting the broader picture in the field of aftermarket parts support and how to then actually turn it down into how to actually minimize the downtime of your machines. I'll do so by painting the picture that there is a transition taking place at the moment from a traditional product support model, or product model I should say, into a more of a service slash support model. And you see that when it's not so much about selling products, but also about aftermarket, whenever a product is sold, how to best service them and keeping your customers happy. To illustrate that, we are looking at the top goals for service that was done by the Aberdeen Group in 2016. and by reading them you can already paint the picture here, but it's about improving the customer retention, loyalty, satisfaction. Of course is an easy one to guess, but how to improve the service-related profitability is an important one to mention that I'll touch more about later on. Also about improving the quality and the relevance of service data, because these days it's no longer enough to send your field service engineer out onto the field with a 200-page maintenance manual that he's not able to find information in, or it may be easy or not easy to understand. That's not really helping him to do his job effectively and to minimize the downtime. So, and then there's a couple more things that you can see here that are regarded as quite important by a lot of these top best-in-class companies in the manufacturing and plant industries. Now, if we then look at, if we want to improve the profitability of our service business, right? So if we then look at what are the causes, what are the things that we need to address that are not so good. So if we look at parts being not available, for instance, or ordering the incorrect part because what one service guy thinks it's called part A may be in the manual written down as part B. So we need to be consistent there, obviously. Customer or assets not being available for service. There might be an improper diagnosis because of knowledge transfer that didn't take place, which also has to do with obviously having the right skills in place. But at the same time also providing your service engineers with the right information that is correct, that is up to date, and that's also easy to understand. So those are the things that we need to address. And if we then look at a couple of other things, then this was found by not only Deloitte, by a few other firms as well, is that in a field engineer's time, it was found that about 25 to 50% of his or her times went into finding and understanding maintenance tasks. So if you had a 5-hour maintenance procedure, half of that time went into working with the documentation, finding the solution, or not being able to find the solution, understanding the bulky information that was given to him, and that's not really helping and minimize the downtime. So it actually also starts with the content itself too, in addition to the technologies that we're about to talk to you further about. And then the other thing is that 40% of failed service visits of capital goods manufacturer service network were actually caused by lack of information. So that the information was simply not available. So that is one aspect, looking at it from the traditional point of view, but I also would like to highlight is what does it mean from a future point of view, right? Because I'm sure you all have heard of IoT and big data, and that is actually going to be transforming the service business, is going to be playing a crucial part, because maintenance, as I mentioned, is increasingly seen as a strategic business function. And IoT is not just about connecting your products online with each other. It's actually about taking that data and turning that into information that can be used for instance, allowing you to improve your service business. So in an ideal world, that would mean that we would no longer go from reactive maintenance, so something is wrong with a part or in the entire machine, it's not working, there's downtime. And then of course a service guy is called and you send them over, they're being scheduled, etc., etc. It could take days, if not weeks, if not months, depending on the type of machine and where it's geographically located. But the idea is that we take IoT data, we analyze that, we learn from it, and we use that information to already send a service guy beforehand, so that we know that a certain part is starting to wear out, and we can send a service guy already beforehand with the right part, with the right information to the customer site, and actually prevent the downtime from happening at all. So from reactive to predictive maintenance there. So in that aspect, the last thing I want to touch upon is what's changing. Well, everything. So it's the way people consume information. So the end user, as you probably have an iPad at home, well, you may not have that at work when you look at the maintenance manuals. So the way people consume information is changing. The way information is delivered, we're going further away from paper to PDF to interactive manuals that need to be available on your mobile devices, even using augmented reality or virtual reality for that matter. The type of information, the devices themselves, again from paper to PDF to in the future glasses. But then the other thing that we need to look at very strictly is security requirements, because if all of our data is in the cloud, what does that mean for security? And if we follow the news on a day-to-day basis, we know there's quite a bit to learn there. So, and that's how we create value, through content, and that's where Etteplan also comes from. In conjunction with Digabit, is that we have the methods as well as the technologies in order to help you create content that is of high quality, that will help you reduce the lead times, that can have a feedback loop so that everything keeps being up to date, and that's how we really help with the short-term goals as well as the long-term goals. Moving over to you, Steve.
All right. Thank you, Barry. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I have just a few slides here that will introduce some of the concepts and benefits of digitization, and how as a manufacturer you can take advantage of these concepts to transform your aftermarket business. So just a few examples here. First, in regards to content, interactivity is a powerful, powerful concept where really it's just about technical content, being responsive to a user's action and really their desired result. So for example, if they're looking for a part in an illustration, want to get further information such as price and availability, or possibly the reverse, where they're looking at a long bill of materials, a very complex one, and they want to see where it fits into an assembly. That's where interactivity can help you. In a similar way, an interactive catalog can make a very large, complex book show just a section or assembly that the user is interested in. So that's a big improvement over, say, a PDF. Right? You know, the interactivity is really about getting the right information to the user right for when they're looking for it. And also, it's important for a system that's digitizing content to have powerful search, filter, browse capabilities, for examples. These are critical features where customers, maybe they do not know their model or the year or anything part number related, but they may know, you know, it's a bronze bushing, say. That may be all they know. And you may be working with this customer at a parts counter, or maybe your technician in the field. So you really need these powerful search and browse capabilities. And digitization really allows this manufacturer to gain even further value from that content. When it's online and interactive, you can take the next step and make it really easy to shop for parts and products, add them to a shopping cart, and create an order. And really the end result of all this, it gets you a competitive differentiator in your aftermarket sales and support business. Next slide, please, Barry. Thank you. All right, so it becomes clear that content really is key to realizing the benefits of digitization. So content needs to be dynamic. That is, it needs to be up to date. It needs to be available anytime, anywhere. And of course, the expectations it's on any device, whether it's an iPhone or a tablet or an Android device, of course. And the only way to really manage content as a manufacturer is to ensure that it's reused properly. For example, if you have one part number change or a part description change, you don't want to have to go and update hundreds of assemblies. And it's very important that when you consider digitization that you structure your content properly so that it can be created, managed, located very easily. So a good structure can allow you to augment your technical content with other information from other systems like lead time or availability or maybe pricing. And also an effective structured content plan should have multiple ways of finding content. Some may prefer a browse hierarchy. Some may prefer looking at products by brands, or possibly just diving right into a parts catalog through a table of contents. So this is all about context. It's about presenting the right information organized properly that as precisely as possible meets just what the user is looking for. Okay, next slide. All right, so it's sort of a summary here. You can then think of a digitization platform as giving you really 4 broad areas of value for your aftermarket business. Starting there in the lower right, it should reduce the cost of authoring your technical information, such as parts catalogs. It should provide very powerful search and browse abilities, so you can quickly find the right part or the right product every time. And it should make the process of creating orders much faster and easier. And ultimately, all these benefits taken together, along with normal shopping features such as suggested parts and kitting and related items, really the purpose is to drive increased part sales and improved aftermarket services. Okay, next slide. So this is why we built Documoto. Documoto is a cloud-based platform that brings all these benefits of digitization to manufacturers, but also to their dealers, distributors, and equipment owners. So with Documoto, we provide a single integrated system that gives you everything that you need to create and publish parts catalogs, to share these technical documents and relate them together, to be able to really maintain and create and maintain, I should say, this content. And when engineering make changes, field service make changes on a kind of an as-maintained product, it's important to keep that updated. To distribute this content anywhere that a customer might need it, and also to pull in additional information such as like lead times again, or possibly to submit orders into your ERP system. So it's really to create that single unified customer experience. And ultimately, again, sell more parts, sell more products, and improve your service. Next slide. All right, so these abilities are really provided through these three modules that we have within Documoto. Cloud Library is where you give your customers access to your entire library of technical information. And you can control who gets it. You can also support both online and offline access. And we expose that through a powerful natural language search engine and browsing features right there within Cloud Library. The Authoring Suite is where your technical publication staff can create and update part, assembly, catalog, and other technical document information. They can load most anything into Documoto. They can relate content to each other, such as relating certifications to a piece of equipment as one example. And they also have extensive capabilities to create additional information to improve your context even further. Maybe it's serial numbers, serial ranges, model numbers, years, notes, comments, anything that you believe is necessary to give your customers the ability to find whatever they're looking for. You can add as content directly within the Authoring Suite. And with Storefront, you gain the ability to add a shopping cart to your site, to set pricing, accept quotes and orders, and to manage the orders that come in and the order history. It also supports a variety of ordering solutions, such as emailing orders to customer service, all the way to sending orders directly into your ERP system in real time through integration. So there you have it, very quickly, a quick overview of digitization and how the Documoto platform can help you realize your digitization strategy. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Barry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we'll go straight to you, Maria, where you're actually going to be discussing a business case as you went through this yourselves.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. Well, now I try to explain Hypervary's case. Firstly, we will review the challenges. Our main challenge was to enable grow the business with a sustainable after sales. That means to keep providing an excellent service support without increasing our staff more than necessary. To achieve this, it was essential getting an online part sales system for machine owners. Another key point was that engineering drawings were not suitable for customer support. On the other hand, our continuous engineering improvements make it difficult to keep all information updated. Therefore, it needed to prepare easily additional documentation. As we say, after-sales service and spare parts operation are absolutely critical for Hypervaric. Next slide, please. Now we will analyze the goals. From the very beginning, we were looking for an easy-to-use after-sales portal for machine owners, but also for our internal staff. And this way, our back-office support staff will be relieved. We thought to get an online library to store and share technical information, such as maintenance videos, technical instructions, common queries, equipment upgrade notification, and much more. It was required the ability to create and update support materials in an easy way, avoiding manual and repetitive procedures. Another goal was improving efficiency, but using an accurate online part ordering system. To summarize, what we were looking for was a tool which allows our customers to increase their machines' availability and reduce the operation cost, reaching a higher reliability and a better maintainability. Okay, next slide, please. At this moment, let's see the requirements to reach these goals. Reading textually, we were looking for a tool that will give our clients access 24 hours a day to a graphical representation of their products without needing to ask for help. So we were pretending an automatic solution for spare parts and maintenance issues with access 24/7 worldwide. It was very important for us, the ability to reuse 3D CAD engineering assemblies in order to create interactive part books. Also get connectivity to our ERP, SAP in our case, and CAD to ensure up-to-date information. Of course, it had to be an easy-to-use and manage system, and also secure, flexible, and scalable. Next slide, Barry, please. It's implementation time. I have to say that our experience during implementation was very satisfactory. Of course, there were some minor issues, but they were solved properly with Documoto's partner in Spain. To summarize, the process was the following. We had to define the portal structure and the desired contents, and we uploaded all this kind of static contents, PDF manuals, videos, etc. After that, interactive part pages were progressively created from SolidWorks into Documoto format. Also, we had to make an integration between SAP and Documoto by using web services. That allowed looking up for pricing, availability, and online order processing, always at real time, very important. As a result, customers are getting their own set quotations, they submit spare parts orders, and they can also track the delivery. That's perfect. Please note that all this service currently is just attended by one person who is managing the portal and also publishing content. At the right side on the slide, you can see the portal's appearance, showing some documents. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, this is just a quick view where it's shown the procedure to create interactive part pages. When I'm preparing an interactive book for a particular machine, first I choose the correct engineering SolidWorks assembly for this machine in particular from our PLM. After that, by using SolidWorks Composer, I do some adjustments on the assembly in order to improve its appearance on the portal. For instance, I can move parts, change their color, or add some text, whatever. At this way, I get an SVG format image and the bill of materials in Excel file. I merge both elements to get an interactive page in Documoto's format. Finally, I manage the access privileges for this content, and I decide in which part of the portal will be available. It's a quite simple process. Next slide, please. Yes, all what I said sounds good, I know, but probably you are thinking, is this tool economically suitable for Hyperbaric? I will say, of course. On this slide, you can see some quantitative benefits for Hyperbaric. I will not display deeply all this information, or talk itself, but I would like to remark that customer support calls regarding parts and service has been drastically reduced by 65%. And also that the first years with Documoto, we have increased the part sales over 120,000 euros. It's better. Next slide, please. In addition to the economic benefits, and trying not to be so repetitive, I will highlight only some of these advantages. For both customers and Hyperbaric too, we have a quick searching tool without mistakes. That allows save time on searching parts, on information, and save money wasted due to the shipping and return of incorrect parts. It is always available everywhere. Just needed a device with an internet connection. Prospective customers are feeling a modern market perception. Another advantage is, especially for customers, now with Documoto, ordering spare parts is much easier for them. Specific information is provided for each individual machine, and they reach higher machine availability and lower operation costs. Finally, for Hyperbaric, we've got a reduction in customer service calls and a few questions for our engineering team on support issues. Therefore, staff is now developing more added value works. The goal of a sustainable business growth is now possible. Currently, publishing and updating is much easier. How? By using templates, we can update and upgrade the information just one time. Very important for us. So with Documoto, we made a competitive advantage over competitors, what means more machine sales. And finally, I'd like to point out that the acceptance of this service by our customers is very high. They are especially interested in interactive manuals because their maintenance workers can easily locate and order the parts they need. Note that several clients who did not have available these manuals because they had all their machines or whatever, and since they have had use of this tool, they ask for it, and we are implementing it for them, despite of the great job that is required from Hyperbaric side. And that's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mario, and thank you, Steve. That means that I'll open up the room now for questions. There's a few coming in already. Don Bridges, you're saying we've invested much in getting our procedures in DITA XML, but need to integrate parts lists with our procedural information, as parts catalog is not a standalone manual. And how does Digabit integrate parts information with the procedural service information? Is that something that you can comment on, Steve, and then maybe I can comment on that as well?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, we're hearing more about DITA, more and more about it, and it is actually something that we are working with a couple customers on developing at the moment. There's a few different solutions, of course. If you're authoring in a DITA tool, you can obviously export that in a number of ways. And what I've seen them doing is, whether or not it is native DITA or exported into, say, an HTML microsite or other documentation, is they'll load that information into Documoto and then relate it. It's very common to relate content together. I mentioned that in my part of the presentation. But through relating the content, you can then, say, attach a output from DITA to, say, a technical manual directly with a parts catalog that is interactive. Very common use case, something we're seeing more and more of, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and to add to that, Steve, at Etteplan, one of our standard ways of working is whenever we write content, we do it in simplified English, for instance, but we also do it in DITA XML or S1000D if it's military or aerospace related, if there is a requirement there. And the benefit that we see there in combination with Documoto is that you're able to take a service manual and not just provide that into PDF, because that still means that you have to do a lot of searching, but also being able to connect parts information to service information that actually relates only to that particular part, as far as not only maintenance but also assembly and operation. So there's quite a few things there that we have already taken into account, already working on. So a question from Marcus Arnold for you, Mario, is did you integrate Documoto as well to your customers? So did you interface to their ERP?
Yeah, well, the integration is the only point that I didn't do. but it was very simple. Our TIC department did this job in a few times. So there was not a problem.
Okay, very good. And then another question from Jason Nichols is for the structured content that you mentioned, Steve, did we use the data standard, the S1000D standard, or another form of XML that is specific to service parts?
Sure. The structure of the content can be done any way you want, to be honest. The structure is up to the customer, up to the manufacturer, so that the information can be presented in a way that is expected by whoever is consuming that content. Documento does have a standard XML format for both assemblies as well as entire catalogs, but in terms of the actual structure, whether it's a taxonomy-based hierarchy for browsing or a TOC for a single book, that hierarchy and that structure can be whatever the customer wants. It's very flexible.
Very good. Okay, well, there are no further questions at this stage. Then I would like to, of course, invite everyone, if there are any questions, these are our contact details, barry.braster@edaplan.com, steven.blanco@digabit.com, he's the CTO there, again, to emphasize that, and then m.bayo@hyperbaric.com, based in Spain. But then again, emails, they go around the world. You get a response probably in 24 hours anyway. So thank you all for participating. A special thanks to you, Steve, and to you, Mario, for allowing me to host this very educational session. And leaves me to thank the audience and to thank everyone. And again, we'll be putting a recording of this online within the next 24 hours probably. And thank you all until the next time. Bye-bye.